Go for
Do
it.
it.
Do it.
But it's 8:00, and if we're jumping up, just a few seconds ahead, might as well. There's nothing wrong with it. We're live, folks. Welcome to Comic Book Streamland. How's everybody doing tonight?
Streamland. You got to do if you're gonna do it, you got to do the thing.
What? See, I'm thinking of like the opening, like a He-Man. Streamland. Dun, 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 dun.
Nothing like good old fashioned AI ripoffs.
Yeah.
That's what AI would do for you. Hey AI, make me a thing.
See,
Hey,
but I didn't even know that AI music exists, but it's in my head once I hear Streamland. Dun, 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 dun. Right? No, doesn't work.
Stop ripping off IP.
Serious.
Oh, you know how many podcasts?
Try to be original.
Oh, I know. I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware.
Oh my God, they go deep, and I'm like, guys, come on, man. I mean, like actual music or interludes from the cartoons are inserted. They're using Transformer interludes. They're using X-Men and Spider-Man interludes. I'm like, come on, everybody. Come on. And then they're like, oh, but we can't make any money, or they took us down. That's why.
And Jay's just there as a Disney pimp. Like, look, Disney's awesome. Buy tickets for Disney.
Disney, Hasbro. I got Hasbro stuff there too. Not just Disney,
All I see is Galactus, Wolverine.
Oh no.
There's some G.I. Joe. There's G.I. Joe logos.
There's G.I. Joe. We've got some Kenner superpowers up there. We've got some Mask represented up there. Mask was a good cartoon.
Where's the Mask? I don't see no Mask.
Where the fuck is he?
Oh, you're bullshitting me.
Right here. No, next to Boba Fett. Boba Fett. We got Mask, and we got the Funko Joker. We got some good representation. We got He-Man. We got some Star Wars. We got Hellboy up top. We got
only good thing you own.
We got hey, I like Hellboy.
That's what I just said. I said the only good thing you own.
We got original Thundercats Chitara up there on top. I got good representation. Not just that, I've spread it around the family also. So that Chitara was owned by my sister, my brother-in-law, God rest his soul. That's his Boba Fett. My cousin picked up Pimp Daddy Destro for me up there. So we got some.
I understand. So you went to
where's your X-Files, man? Where's your X-Files?
We don't got X-Files. No. I don't do X-Files. The only thing I ever owned from the X-Files was the Sewer Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's all I had. Other than that, X-Files didn't really do it for me, guys.
That's sad.
Okay.
Really?
Sad. That's sad. X-Files was great.
Right.
I'm in the middle of a rewatch of it right now, and I'm like, this is a fucking fantastic show. Like, this is a legitimately fantastic show.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Friday the 13th, the TV series.
Oh God, no. God, no. You say that. You say that, but if you go back and watch that again, you'll be like, yeah, X-Files probably. Yeah.
It picks up better. It picks up on the second and third season. I think that first scene is a little season.
The first season is very Monster of the Week, but once the continuity kicks in and you actually have sort of the underlying alien stuff happening, then you can go through Alien of the Week and then like continuity, Alien of the Week, continuity. So yes, I agree. There are some, low points, but as a whole, it was a good series.
I only remember one episode, the Chupacabra episode, and that was just bad. It was just bad, man.
Well, you have to have a love of like the monsters. You have to have a love of conspiracy stuff. You have to have, because that's really what the whole show was. It was all conspiracy stuff. Didn't matter whether it was Monster of the Week or not. It was, no one believes anything that these people are saying, even though they have seen all of this, through all of this, and more people get, Skinner gets to know more and more as it goes along, and they're still just, even in season 6, Skinner's fucking injected with the alien virus shit and borderline dies, and at the end of the episode he was like, he's still on the bad guy's side, like, no, this never happened.
Skinner was Mitch Pileggi. So he was a bad guy the whole time?
No, he was a middle guy. You know,
Yeah.
he would help Mulder and Scully on occasion, but within that episode, like dude died, and was brought back. And at the end of it, even though that was evidence of this alien shit that they were doing, even at that point, he was told by his superiors like that shit didn't happen, and he went with them. So you know, the conspiracy and the deep state and all that kind of stuff was the point of the show more so than monster of the week. You know, you got the monsters, but it was the conspiracy element that was really the key of the whole thing. And if you don't buy into that kind of stuff, then it's going to be hard for you to buy into the show.
Yeah, I didn't buy into it. I didn't buy into T2. You know, it just I'm sorry guys. It wasn't my jam. It really wasn't.
You said T2 Terminator?
Yeah. Wasn't he on the show for a minute?
Oh yeah, like the last season.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that guy. Oh, I thought you meant the actual movie. I was like,
What's his name?
Yeah.
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick. Yeah.
yeah.
Robert
He was in
Patrick.
he was in like the last season. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and I couldn't watch the reboot or the movie that came out. Like,
Well, the movies are both not very good.
Yeah,
They're not very good.
That's being kind. Not very. Ooh,
Yeah.
Those things
No,
are terrible. It sucked.
And I haven't seen the reboots. I haven't even gotten to that.
They were
that bit
reboots.
yet. Yeah, there were 2 seasons, 2 short seasons, like season 10 and 11 or something. Yeah.
okay,
But no, I haven't seen those. But no, I love the show. The show's fantastic.
okay.
Jay.
Hey, listen, everybody has their jam. I'm
Jay.
not knocking you. I'm not knocking you. You liked it. It was your thing. You know, I like Star
Jay.
Trek Deep Space Nine. I know some people were into what was the other one?
Don't say Babylon 5 because everybody who liked Babylon 5 is wrong.
What was
I
wrong
wasn't
with
a
that?
fan
That was an awful show.
I was not a fan of it.
Awful
I'd rather
show.
watch Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine was better.
Yeah, DS9 I think was the better show.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
still like Babylon 5.
Yeah,
You know, I like them both. I watched.
I think Babylon 5 had good high concepts, but I don't think the execution of it landed. Yeah, I
mean,
don't like that show.
you know, I mean, seasons 1 through 4. I thought, well, okay, that last season. But what had happened was J. Michael Straczynski, he didn't think he was going to get a 5th season, so he wrapped it all up in the 4th because it was
Okay.
supposed to be 5 seasons, and I think that's what got him to compress it down. But I like the first 4 seasons. That, like I said, that last season, I'm like, you know, there's stuff in there to think.
No, I to this day am pissed off that I let my friends make me watch that show. I was like, no, this is junk, guys. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is junk.
yeah.
Get your Vorlons and your shadows out of here. Get this shit out of here.
I don't know. You're talking Greek to me. I don't know who any of them
See?
are.
I know what I'm talking about. I watched the fucking show
Okay.
because my friends were all about it. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
man. I
that
don't know.
the Stargate show, I couldn't do it.
Stargate, no, couldn't do
Yeah, jump
Stargate.
into it.
Love the movie. That not.
I did like the movie.
Yeah, movie's
I
good.
did like the movie.
Movie's good. That was supposed to be a trilogy too, and it didn't do well, and so it turned into the show, which then became a huge phenomenon. But yeah, I was not into the show.
No, Farscape, I was down with for a minute.
Nope.
Farscape is the greatest fucking science fiction show ever shown on TV. You just take time off. Fuck that guy.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
Farscape?
No.
Farscape, best.
No. No.
You're lying.
What was better?
You gotta be lying, bro. Come
What was
on.
better?
What's better?
Yeah, what was better?
Deep Space Nine.
No.
I don't know.
Space
I mean,
Nine is
I
better.
liked it. I'm not knocking it. I really liked it.
DS9 is good. I really like DS9, but it's not better than Farscape.
Okay.
Farscape. There's like 8 people who know what Farscape is. Most of them worked on the show.
And I'm one of them. So,
You had the
That's like
lady-
pulling shit out of your ass, like Cleopatra 2525 and shit like that. Like there's some weird, there's some
That was
weirdness out
That
there.
was
man.
bad. That was
Yeah.
bad.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
bad,
that was-
man.
Which was the one? Was that what? Which was the one with the spaceship that looked like a mosquito?
A mosquito.
Yeah, it was on Sci-Fi Channel. It came out around the time of Farscape and Cleopatra.
There was too much of that stuff, and I rejected most of it because my friends were like so deep in it, and I was like, "Look, guys, I got my Star Trek. I'm fine over here with Star Trek." I will say this because I don't think that it's ever been discussed on this show, and we don't have to like go deep into it. But I used to really rag on people that that liked Firefly when it got canceled, and they were all like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And like for decades, it's like, "Oh my god, oh my god." I was like, "Cry more, please, cry more."
I wasn't into it.
I watched Firefly like when it was on DVD or whatever. I was like, "All right." It was like $3. I'll buy it. I'll watch the show. I was like, "All right, I get it. I'm sold. I understand what you guys are talking about. This is a solid show. I'm not desperate for a second season of it, but at that point I understood what was going on and why there was the connection to it. Now, a lot of it was just Joss Whedon because of Buffy and all that other kind of stuff.
Okay.
They were just Joss followers, but it's a solid show if you give it a legitimate chance and you watch it in the right order, because Fox did fuck that up. They did show it in like weird order. If you just watch it, and it's only like, I don't know, 10, 11 episodes or something.
Yeah, it's not that long.
It's solid. It's really solid.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is my apology to the brown coat people, because you were right. You were right. It was a good show.
Yeah.
I did like the movie.
13 episodes.
See, I'd watch. Here was my problem, right? Is I saw the movie without seeing the show. So I watched the movie and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But when you watch the show first and then you watch the movie, you understand what the hell's going on and why anything that happens in the movie matters. Because it was basically just a final episode of the show.
You know, it's funny. When I saw the movie, I said, "Oh, wow, they made a sequel to Ghosts of Mars." It was the same bad guy, right?
Ghosts of Mars.
The ones who would mutilate their own face.
Oh my God, Ghosts of Mars.
Come on, go.
Well, there's mutilate. They were mutilating their faces in the X-Files first, sir. Yep.
Also,
Alien race mutilated their face so that the
it's
other
all
aliens couldn't, when they bled that green blood and it became toxic, that way they wouldn't get affected by the other aliens' blood. That's way before your.
See, I was trying to get as far away from X-Files as possible.
No, I'm going to bring it back every time. I'm going to bring it back because they did it first.
Sci-fi.
First, they did it first.
See, now that you mentioned it, now it's gonna be on his mind the entire day.
It is. He's got to go back to it. We're going to talk about Lilo and Stitch, and he's going to be like, they were on the X-Files. 626 was on the cabinet behind Scully when he was researching aliens.
There's a poster behind Mulder. Yeah, exactly right. It's exactly right. It's hard to see, but it's there if you look.
It's there.
I love how people always read into the things that weren't there, right? They'll fill in the backstory after the show's been over for years. Yeah. Like there's this thing going around now with the Prometheus storyline and how it's linked to Romulus and all these.
It does.
Sleuths are reading the glyphs that were behind them and trying to piece together the story of what Fassbender did to Numi Rapace. I'm like, it wasn't in the movie.
No, but there's connection. There's clear connection. That's where the black goo came from.
Okay.
So now they might be going deep shit, deep dive, wild, making up their own stuff. That's whatever. But no, there is the direct connection between Prometheus, Covenant, and Romulus. Direct connections. Yeah.
Yeah, the xenomorph, right?
Well, but not even the xenomorph, but the black goo. Specifically, the black goo came from Prometheus and Covenant to get to Romulus. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I think there's a little too much freaky connections to the whole phallic and the goo being the goo, and the whole.
Well, Geiger was all about crazy sexual stuff.
Yeah,
not just Alien, but all of his art is crazy like that.
Okay. All you see is fallacies and vaginas.
Fallacies.
I mean,
Right, that's fake
phallic
news. Fallacies is fake news.
yeah, I know. Phallic symbols throughout the entire thing. I mean, all you got to do is watch it. I mean, it's,
Right.
Yeah,
So-
and in Romulus, Fede Alvarez went all in on that too. I mean, he went all fucking in on
Okay.
that symbolism and all that kind of crap. But yeah, no, that goes all the way back to the first Alien. Yeah. And then, Ridley decided he wanted to monkey around with the origin, and that's where the virus and the black goo stuff came from.
and how did
which
Predator?
Ridley did it?
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he made Prometheus and Covenant.
right, and he produced Romulus.
Right.
Okay. All right. Listen, he took it in another direction, right? It doesn't have to be the same person. It doesn't have to be George Lucas all the way through. Right. I mean, not that it was, but it doesn't have to be Cameron all the way through, right?
What are you talking about? Alien was directed originally by Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Cameron was the
Right.
second. one.
The first one was Ridley. Cameron was the second.
Right.
Fincher was the third.
Mhm.
But Cameron's was the best.
Nah.
No.
What?
No.
No.
The first one is the best.
Yes.
First
No
one is
way,
the best.
guys. Come on.
First one is the best.
Horror, but science
Jay,
fiction.
Jay, just cancel
Space
yourself now.
Marines.
Just
Come on,
cancel
people in the
yourself
chat. help me out.
There's only so much shooting that matters.
Yeah, eat your Galactus and just be quiet.
It's fine, but
Yeah, it's
the
a
first
sequel.
one it's fine, but the first movie is definitely superior. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys, come on.
And I think there's two keys I think for Aliens that made it work. One is they just upped the action, right? They made it's an action movie before it's anything.
Yes. Yes.
And then the second one was just the Queen. They were like, let's evolve the species and do the
Right.
Queen thing, and that's great. That's all awesome. But the first is in all ways a superior film. Now, if you are here for action, I will send you to 2 for sure.
Yeah.
If you are
Okay.
here for storytelling and world building and that kind of stuff, I will send you to 1. And there's good characters in number 2. I mean, there's a great cast in there. It's not a bad movie, but I would watch 1 over 2 any day.
All right, let me pose this concept to you guys. Aliens was the first movie where it was a vehicle for a lead female action hero.
Alien. She was the lead in that
Or
movie.
was she in the first movie?
Was she the lead?
She was the lead, dude. Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the interesting
Killed
thing about
everybody
Alien.
else. She was the only one left.
Yeah, but even more so, Alien was set up so that you thought that the dude Tom Skerritt, you thought that was the star, right?
Yeah.
And he was kind of at the beginning because he's just the captain of the ship. But as the movie goes throughout, Ripley is always ahead of all of them on what the fuck is going on. Always.
Right.
So she was the star of that movie, regardless of her being the last one alive. That's one thing. But if you watch the film again, she is the star throughout all of the scenes all the way through.
Okay.
Skerritt was the name at the time, and he was the
Right.
captain of the ship. So you had this sort of writing style of like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have a girl as the lead. So let's make Skerritt, the guy.
Yeah.
But it's clear that the story is the Ripley story all the way through.
It is. Well, for
Yeah.
the first 3.
The only one.
But I'm saying in the first movie, and then in the second one, obviously she steps in again. She levels herself up, with the shooting and stuff. But she's not a damsel in distress really ever in any of the films.
The only character from the first movie that didn't transition to the second movie that I think would have been a much better lead was the cat.
The
That
cat,
was
yeah, the cat, yeah.
the cat, definitely.
Why?
Cat got left at home.
Why? Can't mean nothing. Can't mean nothing. What was the cat a metaphor for?
Pussy.
Jay, why don't you figure it out?
It's another
what it's
Gigger.
all
It's
about.
another Gigger insert there.
Exactly.
Look, out of the Aliens franchise, Ripley is the one that succeeded as the lead, right?
Sure.
Because Numi Rapace, she didn't she did take over the franchise, and this young lady who is coming out in Romulus, is she?
No one cares
destined to
about
be
that
lead?
movie.
There you
No
go.
one cares about that movie.
Okay. All right. Now, Dave over here said something about Starship Troopers. Do you think Starship Troopers took from Aliens 2?
No, Aliens 2 took from Starship Troopers, because for those that don't know, Starship Troopers was a book like 20 years before Aliens
Robert
came out.
Heinlein.
Also, Aliens has direct cinematic pulls from the movie Them, the Ant movie. Like direct cinematic, we're taking this scene from Them and we are making it an Alien scene.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah. It's like, and Lucas does this too in Star Wars. It's the same thing. There's similarities there too. But yeah, if it's there's a number of scenes that are just direct pulls from Them and turned into Aliens.
There's a YouTube video somewhere. If you
Yep.
look it up, you can find it. It's interesting. Yeah.
I want to check it out. No, because I've seen a lot of the
Have you
stuff
seen-
going into the backstory on it. You know, like
Have you seen Them, the movie?
The giant ants
Ants?
from the
It's a
50s.
really good movie.
no.
Yeah, it's
No,
one of the good atomic age movies.
Yeah.
I remember Food of the
giant animals.
Gods.
Food of the Gods. Yeah, okay.
I don't remember them.
Them
Them
is
is
even older.
yeah, Them is older.
Black and
That's yeah.
Oh, it's
It's
black
black
and white.
and
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the-
But all right, it took from they took from the book Starship Troopers, but visually, I mean, no, right? Don't you think they had to separate it a hell of a lot more so they didn't get lumped in with aliens and trying to be someone who cribbed it?
They knew they were cribbing. I mean, they knew
Okay.
they were cribbing. Cameron knew he was cribbing off of Them. He would crib off of anything he wanted to crib off of.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially
Quentin
back then,
Tarantino-
because we don't notice that shit back then very often, because we didn't have the internet. It wasn't as obvious, right? But now that we have people that do these deep dives, like you were talking about with like Prometheus and stuff, people will be like, "Hey, yo, that's what happened there." That just happened with Godzilla. In fact, somebody was showing a scene from Godzilla, Ghidorah, King Ghidorah, whatever, that it was almost a direct pull that they did in Godzilla -1 with the blast, and then there was the scene where you're looking over Godzilla's shoulder with the explosion and shit. Like it looked really a lot like what they did in -1, but at the same time, the guy in -1 100% was doing that, like on purpose. He's like, I am homaging all of this shit while I tell my story. So it wasn't like he was hiding it, but people find those kinds of things because they're watching this stuff all the time.
Well, I mean, look, in larger cinema, right? In live action or even animation, that stuff is all over the place.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, look at all the old Disney rotoscope stuff that they
Right.
just overlaid
Right.
over and over and over again.
Well, there's that famous, well, not that famous. There's that reel from the X-Men Evolution that keeps popping up that shows the girls dancing in a club,
Yeah.
and it's
rotoscoped.
just foot for foot. I mean, excuse
It's
me,
rotoscoped.
rotoscoped of
Yep.
of the girls in the craft. Was
Yep.
it? I think
Yep.
it was. Right. All dancing the same way. So how is it that they can get away with that, yet in comic books, when we crib one another, it is you know what I mean? You become a social pariah.
It's
what do you mean? Rob Liefeld did it to Frank Miller all the time.
Ooh,
He did. There was the Ronin scene in I forgot what is it in one of the, I think the X-40 where Shatterstar stabs himself, and that's directly from Ronin.
right. But what Jay's saying is that why don't they get torn down for that? Or excuse me, why do they get torn down for that? Whereas with something like that X-Men Evolution dancing scene, like no one cares that they're ripping stuff
Comic
out.
fans are pettier.
Yeah, well, okay.
Comic
That's
fans are pettier, right? Because prior to AI, which was the artist that was getting ripped in half for I guess doing rotoscoping for his female images.
Well, Greg Land is notorious
Land,
for
yes.
pulling stuff from everywhere. Yeah.
Right, but
He
I
has-
mean, at least
has
he's
deep-
doing artwork by hand. It wasn't AI stuff.
He has a
No, it's
deep-
not AI, but he's literally almost borderline tracing stuff.
Yeah.
Who doesn't trace?
No, like trace, like trace.
No. I think the problem with Greg Land is not that he traces, it's just that what he traces. Victoria's Secret catalogs,
Yeah.
Porn scenes.
Yep.
You know, the old face from porn scenes.
Yeah.
This is funny stuff. I have to wonder sometimes, is he just being like, he's just like, I'm gonna fuck with everybody and just, you know, give you that special face. And I think sometimes it's like, maybe he's just messing with everybody, you know, because I've seen him do stuff
Okay.
that's like he did. I just read a Hulk comic with him. He did some of the sequences. It looks really good, right? Whether or not he traced the Hulk or maybe he got a toy and he was doing the figure stuff off of that. But stuff like the guy can work. He can obviously illustrate. He obviously hits a deadline on time, or else they wouldn't hire him.
Right. He's
Right?
a good hand. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, you know, who knows? But I do think he throws that stuff in just to mess with people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the rip-off stuff is more like hyper specific, right? Like if I were to go in and like trace Todd McFarlane, like a famous Todd McFarlane scene, and put it into Critter or something, right? Then people will be like, oh, look, he's like ripping Todd McFarlane. But like with the rotoscope stuff, it's a little more innocuous. It's a little more just, you know, we've taken a scene and you know, we've played with it, and we've still put our art on top of the people dancing. They still had to do the work. All they really took was the motion aspect of it to make it a little more, you know, fluid and so on.
Right.
So I think a lot of the stuff that gets harped on in comics is just these direct rips. There was a guy who did a Godzilla cover for Marvel who traced a shot from Godzilla Final Wars for his cover. I mean, traced like line for line on this fucking shit. So, you know, when people see that kind of thing versus like, oh, that's clearly from that scene, but he drew it his way, like reference, right? Versus tracing. You know, you get a pass for reference, I think. But
let's bring this back now to the movies. Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder. There were many popular scenes pulled right from the comics. I mean, you want to call it, what would the opposite of rotoscoping be, or framework, right?
Well, that's Disney bringing a Disney property to life in live action. That's not, they're not like, it's not, they're like, oh, like Marvel is like not Disney. Like that's just all people working within that zone. That's like Snyder with his Batman and Superman trying to bring specific scenes out of the comics, you know, into live action. Watchmen. Yeah.
So if Disney hadn't owned Marvel, they wouldn't have been able to do that.
Well, they could have,
Sure.
but again, it's
you don't see Sony doing it.
So let's say no, they don't. But why don't they? Probably because they just have fucking hacks making movies. I mean, what do you know what I'm saying? Like they probably could if they wanted to, but they've got people that are just like for example, let's just use the Garfield Spider-Mans, right? Like there's very little in those things that is fucking even close to what Spider-Man is in the comic books, outside of the Gwen Stacy elements, which is the best part of those two movies. And then of course, you know, she dies. Spoiler alert, she dies with the, you know, while he's trying to catch her. So that was good. It wasn't a direct pull, but they did the scene, you know. But if they wanted to come in and be like, hey, let's take this shot of, I don't know, what did they do? See, their fucking villains were so bad. The lizard, right? Even the lizard, they couldn't even like do a pull for the lizard because the design was so fucked up that, you know, how do you do a direct pull when your design is so terrible?
And did they have Electro?
Yeah, Electro, but Electro was like the ultimate Electro, not the green and yellow, you know.
Yeah,
guy.
Electro was more of a Batman 66.
Yeah, so I have this sense that that Sony was looking at these comics and being like, look, let's just make our stuff and not worry about that. You know what I mean? Or the people that they hired perhaps were like, I'm not going to copy the movies. I want to make my own, or I'm not going to copy the comics. I want to make my own thing. I don't have a specific answer for you, but I think that they could, especially now, I think that they could, if they wanted to, because they have a more direct connection with Disney. And you know, they've licensed Spidey out, and, you know, I'm sure if they were like, hey, we want to like do something, but Madam Web, fucking Craven, these Venom movies, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, this is garbage time storytelling.
So let's
Well,
look at let's
Can
look
we
at
at least wait till Craven comes out before we judge it?
Garbage.
I mean, look, I'm not
Stop.
saying you're wrong because you're probably right. But like, can we at least wait till it comes out?
it was supposed to be out already. They got pushed back for a reason.
Yeah, it got pushed back. So Williams talks about, so if you go back to the Tobey Maguire stuff, there is there's more of this stuff in the Tobey Maguire, especially when he's swinging and posing and doing that stuff. But again, it's not like a specific like scene pull, but they did try and emulate what you saw in the comics far more in the Tobey stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So when Marvel has a direct hand in the product that they bought 15 years ago, there's an obvious change. And from the screenshots, I think like their ownership and acquisition of Fox is helping to make something like the Fantastic Four better, which really was not good in the last 3 flicks that they tried to make.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Right. I mean, we're finally getting a comic, a screen accurate.
See, Benjamin
Grimm thing, right?
Yeah, I didn't mind the first Fantastic Four. The Thing was terrible. Like that was.
Yeah, he was.
That was terrible. But the movie was okay. Casting was okay. The second one was awful. That was the awful movie. The Silver Surfer thing. That was bad.
Was that the what is it? Galactus as Mist?
Yeah, Galactus Mist. Yeah, that's a bad movie. I will say this too. The next one that they did, I don't know what you call it, the third one.
Oh yeah.
I don't hate that movie to a point. But there's a point at that movie where it suddenly runs into a wall and destroys itself. And then it is unsalvageable from there.
Okay.
And that's basically when they go to the other world place, whatever the other world place is. At that point, it all falls apart, like completely falls apart and is destroyed. But if you watch the beginning when they're kids, which is fantastic when they're kids, up to that point where they go into the thing, like it's not a terrible movie.
I don't know. I think they failed. I really do think they failed.
It's still a failure. Oh, there's no question. Because
that guy ruined his career with that film.
Yeah.
Gone. Like that guy is gone.
Yeah.
I know. He had a meltdown. While filming that flick.
Well, and I mean, we'll never. There's a trank cut, right? Like that we're never going to see. I mean, why would we ever see it? But part of his thing was like, well, they're coming in and fucking around with what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, but dude, I've watched this movie and I've seen how you pulled the ending out of your ass. And this is all terrible. Like you filmed this. This is terrible. So you fell on your ass at some point.
David, the 90s one was just as bad. It was never meant to come out. It was only meant to hold on to the rights of the Fantastic Four.
But that thing looked better than whatever they did with the burn victim thing in the first movie.
Hello? How about let's go back to the 1980s Flash Gordon that gave us the best Doctor Doom looking character ever with Clytus. And he was, instead of just being green and silver, he was gold and black, right? I mean, it was simple, yet it was effective.
There was a much better version of earlier version ripoff of Doctor Doom long before that in '77 in Star Wars. Yeah, in Star Wars, we saw him all the time. Lucas would never cop that he stole Darth Vader from fucking Doctor Doom.
That was a samurai gimmick, bro. Come on, man.
That's Doctor Doom in a samurai helmet.
Exactly.
Okay, look, I'm looking forward to this. And in a way, I'm glad that Disney does own Marvel or the MCU, the whole kit and caboodle, right? Because we're getting, I don't want to say faithful adaptations, but with money behind it.
No.
What do you mean?
Don't agree. I don't agree with you because as far as the films go, that's fine. But if we start talking about publishing, no. Because
that's a different story, right?
Yeah, I mean, because as far as the publishing is concerned, like, you know, those guys up there, like, all they have to do is make enough money to not lose money.
Okay.
Disney does not care about Marvel Comics.
Correct. And that's why I don't like the fact that they own them.
Sure.
When they were just like their own thing and they had to survive and they had to make money and they had to make good comics to make money, they were something.
Except they didn't do that either. They basically bankrupt themselves and Blade saved them. So literally, Marvel has a history of failure to be saved by film and merchandising and that kind of stuff.
Well, they've
you know,
said for the longest time they make more money on underboots than they do on.
Yeah. I remember the years. There were 2 years at least where at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel did not have a booth. They had a table. A single table was the Marvel booth at San Diego Comic-Con.
Was this the early Quesada years?
Right before Blade saved their ass. Yeah. They were out the door. They were done. And Blade saved them.
Right. They had filed Chapter 11. They were coming out of it because of that. And
they were borderline selling Spider-Man to stay alive. And then Blade saved them. Yeah.
Right. But as far as the publishing end goes, they brought in Joe Quesada, and he's the one that saved that section of the company.
Yeah, that was the early Quesada. He was not the one that put them there. He was the guy that was there as it just sort of crumbled and he had to rebuild it.
Right.
Vader was ripped from Valerian Calderon.
That's possible.
Dr. Doom. Okay.
Well, listen, there's this thing where he might have been ripped off from a bunch of different places.
That is true. An amalgam.
Yes.
Right?
These things hurt, yes.
But, Marvel's troubles aside, creatively, they had a lot more freedom before they were owned by Disney from the publishing end.
I don't think that Disney gives a flying fuck what they do in the comics. Honestly, I don't. I think the only reason that we're getting kind of crappy comics is primarily because the creators that are creating don't create anymore, right? Okay. Look at the X-Men reboot, right? Hey, let's put everybody back in their old costumes. Let's reshuffle the teams again. Like, let's just nostalgia tap, over let's create something. And that's not their fault. It's the point I'm trying to make is that when they create something, they don't get anything from it, really. Now, contracts are a little different now than they used to be back in the day. Creators are coming in going, look, y'all are going to make $1 billion if I make something. Just give me a piece. Like, it's a little bit different. But even in that little difference, there's still why am I creating this thing that's going to be a t-shirt and a toy and $1 billion movie, and I'm going to get a check for $5,000 and a pat on the back with my name on the screen? Like,
right.
Does that matter? Now, you still have a job, right? You're still doing the job. Like, hey, you created a thing and it's cool and you're awesome. And yeah, I can say at a con, I'm the creator of this thing. And I'm still working at Marvel, but
yeah, but you got no pension, you got no 401k, you got no medical and dental, you got no day off, you got none of that stuff. You have no security whatsoever.
Yeah. And if they decide you're done, you're done.
You're done, exactly. And to emphasize what Tom was saying, for me, it's like Daredevil, right? So I go back and I read, I recently got a Daredevil run from somebody that was up there just recently. And I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, it's Daredevil fighting Kingpin. Oh, Elektra's in here. Oh, the Hand Clan, the ninjas are back in here. Oh, I'm like, Frank Miller wrote this shit 10 times better than you guys 40 years ago. Why is this still here? There should be a moratorium on Kingpin, Elektra, and ninjas being in Daredevil. There was do something new.
How about how many times has Matt Murdock gone back to being, hey, I'm not Daredevil, or I'm Mike, or I am right? But the same thing could be applied to Batman. Arrested. The same thing could be applied to Superman.
Oh yeah, well, but that's the problem, right? Now here's the real problem. Fans don't want anything new. Fans of Marvel and DC, they don't want anything new outside of, hey, is that a new character so I can buy the first appearance and put it away because I'm going to put my kids on college because it's first appearance? Like that, the collectors are there. They want that stuff. But the people that are reading this stuff, they just want that warm, fuzzy feeling of Wolverine going, snicked, I'm the best there is at what I do, bub. Like, that's what they want. So when you don't give them that, they don't want that. They don't want it. So if you're like, hey, here's a new character, or here is Wolverine in a different context, they reject it. And that's a real problem that we have with the comic book world right now.
So
look at the indie sales, even high profile names are struggling to sell creator-owned books through Image or whoever else. If those guys can't do it, then you know what the fans are looking for, and if you know what the fans are looking for, you have to give it to them. And when you give it to them, it's just the same shit, re-Tetrised again and again.
So
and again.
does it need to be considered an evergreen property and rebooted every 5 years? So that way, the same story's over, might as well reboot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, DC literally did that. They did New 52, and they were like, "Yeah, never mind," and they did Rebirth, and it's it's still been going. I will say that apparently the new Ultimate line has done well, has sparked some interest. I have not read any of it. I don't know, but it has apparently gotten some interest. The question will be, how long does that last?
Right.
How long do the creators on it survive on a book?
Well, it's Hickman, right? He's known for cutting out in the middle and
everything Marvel, specifically Marvel, less so DC, but specifically Marvel, everything there is like you might get a year and a half of a run, and then it just resets. I mean, that's just modern comics now. It's just reset it into another one, reset it into another one. And they just reset the entire X-Men line. Yeah. The entire X-Men line just rebooted.
So
but
does it take
to very little effect, by the way, to very little effect. Most people are like, well, I don't know, man. This is not.
You could have kept going with the other stuff.
Right.
Now,
yeah.
Does it take something like a mass media property like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to show that our heroes can grow up? And I'm referring to mostly Spider-Man growing up, going through the journey of losing his mom or Aunt May, going through a divorce, having a kid, and that being a launch point for this whole entire Ultimate Universe.
But we've done that. Spider-Man went through that. He became a kid. He became an adult. He got married to MJ. They went through all of that. Right. In real continuity. He married MJ.
When he lost the baby.
Yeah, and then it kept going, and you had the Mephisto reboot everything, right? Even with Batman was gone. Dick Grayson became Batman. Like, this is organic storytelling. Like, keep it going, level it up. Fans rejected it. They're like, fuck this. I don't want it. I want to put it back the way that it was.
Did fans reject it, or did the hand of big media say, you know what, we're selling a Batman movie, you need to bring Bruce back?
Well, that's another part of this whole thing is licensing. But I think that the higher ups at Marvel and DC and Warner's and Disney, I think they're realizing that the comics don't matter. And so let them do whatever the hell they want. Who cares?
Right,
We're making movies. We're making movies now. That's the focus, because we make billions of dollars over here and we sell paper over here. Like, what are we doing? No one cares. So that's the way that I look at it is we've tried all of that. We've tried that. Even the X-Men used to be teenagers. They grew up, they became 20 somethings. Cyclops married Jean, all that kind of stuff. They've done the organic thing. But they've all reached a point now where the next step would be these guys are 50, 60 years old. Maybe they're going to start retiring from superheroing. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see, and let's take it further. They've done this to absurdity. Old man Wolverine, old man Hawkeye, old man, whatever. Like, they've taken you even into the future of these characters to show you what they're like when they're old.
Hulk, Future, and Perfect, right?
Right, exactly.
Universe. Yeah, all that.
Here's the thing. It's all been done. We've done it all. So to me, the only thing you can do is start creating again. You have to move past some of this stuff. Use it as a foundation. Don't just throw the X-Men away. But you have to almost forcibly create again and say, look, guys, this is it. This is your X-Men, whatever new thing you want to do. This is your X-Men. These guys are going to still be in the universe. They're still going to come in from time to time. You use them to boost your sales and so on. But you have to physically force this shit at some point. I remember when Spider-Man was that red and gold suit. You remember that? With the legs and stuff. Yeah. Joe Quesada was like, this is it, guys. This is Spider-Man. And people were like, fuck you. And they took that away. And it went back to what it was. So, the fans, man, the fans of comics, they want one thing, one way. and it's very hard for you for
They want it to be that
creators,
one thing one way,
right?
but they're
and
not
it's
going to
so-
support it financially.
Well, I think also depends on the creators on the books, because when Grant Morrison was doing the X-Men, the sales were really good, and the stories were different. Like he was.
yeah, but you're talking about now like 20 years ago.
But I mean, I'm talking about a creator, right?
Sure, but 20 years ago, the market was a lot different than it is now.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
the thing is, though, is they allowed it to be cannibalized the way it was cannibalized. It's not like
yes.
that was their they destroyed it themselves.
Yep.
But also they allowed a lot of these big name creators to move on and just leave,
Yep.
right?
Right.
I mean, like, who's up there? I mean, they have some good creators, but ultimately, is anybody doing anything that's memorable? Where is it? Like Walter Simonson with his Thor run, or Frank Miller with Daredevil. Is there anybody up there doing that type of work? Right.
Well, the Jason Aaron run on Ghost Rider or Thor was, I don't want to say highly touted, but
all right. I'll be honest. The first 12 issues, really good. The God Butcher, the first 12 issues, really good stuff. Then when he gets into Jane Thor, I thought it would last about a year, but then it got a little long in the tooth. He took it on for 3 years, right? And it got a little long in the tooth. I still like the run, but I think that particular segment of it could have been shorter. There was no reason to let it just, because for me it just lingered. I probably have to give it a reread, but in the end, it was an okay run. But the God Butcher section of the run is really good, though. I count that as some really good Thor.
All right, now William was talking about Miles Morales, and he's doing fine for a different Spider-Man. I agree. I just think that Marvel Disney is failing to capitalize on the two different elements. You want to attract the younger readers, you can do that through Miles. You want to keep the stories going organically, you can do that also at the same time with Spider-Man. And in my opinion, they're failing to capitalize on both of those elements. Right? They're testing it out in the Ultimate Universe.
So you're talking about the publishing end.
The publishing end, right? But besides that, you've got the hand of Big Brother guiding it or restricting it in a way. Yet when you don't have it, something like the Elementals happens, right? And
no, what do you mean?
You love the Elementals.
I'm a huge fan. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what you're saying.
It's on Kickstarter right now.
Fanzine is.
Fanzine. That wasn't the people that published Elementals back then, was it? Wasn't it Comico?
They did at one point, yes.
Yeah, Comico, yeah.
Comico, excuse me. Comico, not Comico?
It's Comico. I've actually heard people who worked at the company call it Comico.
Okay. All right. Well, I always thought it was Comico. Okay.
Originally, that's how I used to pronounce it too. But yeah, it's Comico.
Okay. All right. Listen.
It's just like it's Magneto, not Magneto.
Right.
Right. Just like it's Mego, not Mego. Instead of we got Lego and
Correct.
Egos. Okay. I get all right.
And the Submariner is as opposed to the Submariner. There you go. So.
And it's Namor, not Namor.
Seriously, there you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That would hurt me.
Anyway, so what's your point with the Elementals?
Well, it's coming back, right? But it had
coming back. That's a fanzine.
So it's not official at all.
No, it's just a fanzine.
Okay.
It's just
all right, but you don't have. So you don't have the actual. Was it Bill Bullingham?
The guy who owns it is the same dude that owns Youngblood stuff. He's a scam artist galore.
Yeah. Well, he paid Bill for it. He paid.
But he's been trying to make comics for like over a decade, and he will constantly get things started, not pay anybody. Everybody will leave, and then he'll start again. So he's
Youngblood.
Yeah, he owns the Youngblood properties. Yeah,
right. Yeah, Bill would say that Jim Lee would go to this guy annually, every year for years, and bring him a suitcase of money and try to buy the Elemental, and just can't get it. Because the guy has money, he's rich.
Yeah,
he doesn't care. Like he's I think like rich on that different level rich.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is he scumbagging people then?
Because he's a scumbag.
Yeah. But the Elementals things you're seeing, that's just a fanzine. That's something put together by the fans. Going to have an interview with Bill Willingham. They're going to go over the history of the Elementals. It's that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was a series coming back out.
No.
And they're not going to get any repercussions from this guy that owns it?
I don't think he gives a shit.
Really?
Trust me, I don't think he gives two shit. Look, listen. Fathom is originally from the Elementals. Was Mike Turner ever sued by this guy?
No.
Right. Monolith. Another character.
I thought Monolith was continuity. Neil Adams.
No, you're thinking of Megalith.
I'm sorry. Megalith. Okay.
Yeah, get your independent straight, bro. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's been a while, bro. So who owns continuity now?
I would imagine his kids.
Yeah, it's in the family.
Yeah, I would imagine his children. I mean, they're just who knows? I would love to see more books with those characters, but the market is just not. It's just not there for it. We know that.
Listen, if Neil can't make that work, no one's
Right.
making that work.
Oh well, he couldn't make it work because those stories were fucking ass. Like they couldn't write worth of shit. They had the best art, the best characters.
Valeria the She-Bat wasn't a prime property?
It looked good.
I don't think it did.
It looked good.
The Nighthawk stuff was good, but Cyber Rad wasn't there. Megalith was.
Yeah. Listen, I like the ideas. Silver Streak, Armor, Toy Boy. Love Toy Boy.
Okay.
You know.
You mean Boy Toy?
No, Toy Boy. No.
I don't know which one of you is right. I can't knock it. I can't.
well, I read the comic Toy Boy. Tom obviously enjoys boy toys. That's the whole different section of the industry.
That's the after midnight show. That's the after midnight show. Come back for the after midnight show.
Right. So you've got all these different independents out there that have gone, right? Kamiko, right? Pacific, Tops was running a line for a minute. Eclipse, Tundra, the Ultraverse or Malibu, whatever,
even more recent stuff like Radical. They were here for a while and they were gone. There was a European studio called GG Studio that came over for a couple of years. They're gone. There was Double Take the last 10 years that came in. They had really unique ideas, but they had no idea how to execute what the hell they were doing. And they disappeared. They had $2 million in funding to get this shit going. They created a world that existed in the Night of the Living Dead world. So they were right in that universe, and they collapsed before, a year went by.
Okay. So now today you have Mad Cave expanding into anime with a subdivision. You've got them expanding into creator imprints with Casada, doing amazing comics through them. You've got oh my God, Ghost Machine.
And at the same time, you have the collapse of Aftershock. You have the collapse of IDW. That's seemingly in a bad way.
They've lost $900,000 in their last reported
quarter.
Yeah, but that's better than last year. Last year they lost $1.9 million. So so it's a wonky, wacky, bizarro time.
Who knows where TKO Studios is at right now?
You have Scout that's collapsing.
Yeah.
So
Action Lab is collapsing. I mean, it's
I thought they were
every time you have like these risers, like you were saying, like Mad Cave and a few that are rising up, Distillery, they're rising up. You get like 3 or 4 that fall back down.
So you've got these new imprints coming out. Are they learning from the past, or?
Well, you got to remember, it's usually the same jokers putting these imprints together.
Yeah,
it's usually the same exact people. And like I said, I know who's getting rich, and it's not the creator.
Yeah, I think the only company that is doing anything of interest, not to me, I can't read any of this stuff, but I can visually look at it and say, like, something's happening here. Is Distillery, and those are the guys that do like the big, like, treasury size things. They're not treasury size, but they're
Like
Black
magazines.
Label. They're like Black Label size, right? They have a nice price point. They have oversized books. The art is pretty good. They stand out on the rack versus endless, pamphlet things that we have. So, like, when I go into my comic book store, there's an area for these huge books, and you can't walk by it and not be like, "What the fuck is that?" And they just won a bunch of Eisners and stuff this year. So that's the only company that I see that's really kind of doing. What?
They purchased a bunch of Eisners?
Well, however it works, however you need to get your Eisner, that's fine. Let's say this: they have some Eisners. They have some Eisners. Not that means anything to anyone.
Right.
Honestly, it doesn't mean anything. You tell the general comic book fan, "Hey, I'm an Eisner winner." They'd be like, "What is that?" It's the Oscars for comics. Oh, I didn't even know that was a real thing. Like, they don't know. It's such an insular thing. Congratulations to the winners, but it just doesn't mean anything. But they're doing some stuff that's a little bit different than a lot of these other companies. Mad Cave, like, hey, we got the Battle of the Planets license. I'm like, yeah, but like, so
Yeah.
does anybody
Right.
You're not doing the Sectors is coming out through Nacelle and Oni, right? That comes out next month. Like, whatever. Even when you look at like Dynamite, who's doing big things with licensing, they're doing like 75 covers.
Yeah.
Like they're propping up those properties with just a shitload of product, and a lot of it's cool. Transformers is another one, right? Tons of covers, very cool art. Like, it's selling off the visual. But that's what I've been saying for a long time, is that comics sell off the visual first, foremost, and primarily.
Right.
And that is why art is holding comics where it is, whether it's interior art, whether it's variant, cover art, because there's art collectors, and even if they don't like what's on the inside of a book, if the cover has the White Queen and it looks badass by Adam Hughes, they're buying the book because they like the character and they like Adam Hughes. That's it.
Is Adam Hughes even doing any cover? When was the last time you even seen him do a cover? I don't.
He pops in from time to time. Yeah, he's not a regular anymore like he used to be, but he pops in from time to time.
Do you think he priced himself out?
I don't know.
No, because Arthur Adams is still getting cover work.
Yeah, and they put him on the jankiest books, man. Holy God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, I buy his stuff because I'm that guy. I'm like, Jesus, give me more Art Adams stuff. But I got a stack of books with Art Adams covers right there. And I'm like, so let me read these books. Let me see what's going on. There's like Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. I'm like, show me what's going on, guys. Show me, Marvel. This is horrible. Oh my God.
Right.
What the fuck is inside these books? So the cover's great, but the insides are nothing. But Marvel and DC put those guys on a cover, they're going to sell books.
Right. What is it? $10,000 for an original Arthur Adams cover?
It's big. It's big. Yeah, it's big.
Right. And it's like, if you had the scratch to get that together, are you gonna get your overhead?
Let me put it to you this way, Jay. In January, I start my OnlyFans. And every dollar raised goes towards paying Arthur Adams for a cover.
Nice.
So, all right, you've got.
So as soon as I get 10 grand, guys, I can cancel the account. So let's do it fast.
I'm with you on that. You got the head of Big Brother, right? Disney controlling Marvel to an extent.
To some degree. Well,
you've
controlling Marvel movies, not so much the comics.
You got imprints coming back on the rise. You got imprints trying to rise, and you've got imprints at the 10-year plus mark failing. Is the spot where we are at as independent creators the sweet spot, or is it a hindrance?
To who? Well,
I think
we don't have the
money.
money. We don't have the war chest to generate bandwidth for us, to generate the awareness that some of these companies that are failing are getting just off the cuff.
Yeah, but they're failing. So who cares?
They're failing, but we also don't have the hand of Big Brother guiding us creatively, or pigeonholing us, right? So are we in a good spot or not?
Creatively, we're in a great spot. Financially, we're probably in the shitter. But there you go.
But financially, we're also at a point, at a golden age of crowdfunding, whatever you want to call it. We're returning to an age of patronage. For those that don't know what that means, back in the olden days, people would actually pay artists to be artists, and we're kind of reverting to that sort of a thing through the crowdfunding context. I mean, there's Patreon. That's literally what that means. You're a patron of the arts. You're paying for these guys so that they can keep making what they do. But crowdfunding is the same thing. You're buying an item, certainly, but you are saying, hey, I want you to make that item. Here's my $20. I want that book when it's done. So we're in a unique position that I've never seen before in my comic book history. It used to always be, you go to Marvel, you go to DC, you go to Image, you send your book into them, they send it to Diamond, retailers buy your book, they put it on the shelf, and that's the end of you. Right. And you have to somehow make that work. But now we have direct access to the people that not only already buy our books, but that could potentially buy our books, whether it's Comic-Con, whether it's online videos like this, or any social media, whatever. So we as creators have to sort of really take the reins of that. And I think everybody's experience is going to be a little different based on how they attack the opportunities that exist all over the place.
Okay. Yep. I like that. Calderon was like, no, we're fucked. But Tom put some thought into it.
It all depends on what you want. I just say,
yes, that's right. Yeah.
We're in a good spot. You understand? Creatively, I feel I'm in a good spot. Financially, I'm okay. I'm not bad, but I'm not great either. You understand? I can sustain what I'm doing. You understand? But I still got the day job, which is fine. But I mean, it is what it is.
And as much as I hate saying this, and I repeat it and I repeat it and I repeat it, because I'm in it, and I fought it tooth and nail. I did, right? I about to hit 21 years on a day job in January, but I got a retirement. I got a 401k, right? And how many of our creative brothers and sisters don't have that?
Yeah.
That hurts. That hurts, because I would have killed to be in their shoes at any point in their career.
We just lost another creator, right? Bernie Moreau. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Okay.
He was a artist. He worked with Matt Wagner on Mage. He has a varied career. But my understanding, he was 64 years old, not doing very well financially. And I guess, he wasn't broke. The guy was poor, right? And he ended his life, right? And this is a guy who was a lifelong comic guy who's been in the business. My understanding, he's worked at, I don't know if he's worked at Marvel. I believe he did some stuff over at DC, did mainstream stuff, right? And what is that, right? And it's crazy. It's insane.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. That sucks, man.
Yeah,
right? Because earlier today, you guys were talking about how, once the bigs say you're done, right? And it's hard to find work again.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of the dudes like Scott Snyder and these dudes are dipping their toes in the crowdfunding world, because that way they can at least have a foothold in that kind of thing. Even if it's not like hyper successful, they can have a foothold there, so that if something does go left,
right,
in their jobs up here, they can at least be like, well, we've done this a few times. We can make this work over here. Like the Scott Snyder thing they did raised like $100,000. So, he knows that if he really needed to, he could come and drop in and probably be okay. But not everybody's built for crowdfunding. Trust me, if they were, this place would be flooded by every big name in comics. But a lot of these dudes that are comic creators in whatever capacity, the infrastructure of crowdfunding is fucked. And particularly the back end, when you've got to ship all this stuff out, and like again, in the old days, it's like printer, make 5,000 copies, printer, send it over there. And then, Diamond deals with it. But us, it's like, Tom, you have 400 packages to ship. Holy fuck. Okay. I guess I'm shipping packages for the next 2 weeks. That's just what it is.
Right.
But here's the thing. I mean, they don't see the benefits. Like, Tim Vigil, right? And his partner, they released Faust as a big omnibus. The book was $150. They did 700, and they limited to 777 copies. They raised $120,000 in like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And they ran a 60-day campaign. And for like 45 days, people were sitting there salivating, hoping somebody canceled their pledge so they could buy it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I guarantee you that Tim and his partner were just like murdering themselves. They were like, "What? Who knew?" I mean, they eventually released one through I think it was Black Mask released the official release through Diamond. So I'm pretty sure they sold a metric more ton books to them, hopefully. And this is something that's available. They released Warlock 5. I think Warlock 5 did very well. Dennis Beauvoir is still on. I see him on Facebook, still painting. And his partner. There are opportunities. That's why this guy Bernie, who unfortunately is no longer with us, he did a book called The Jam. I'm like, why couldn't he have hooked up with somebody, in this space, and put out like an omnibus of that thing? Guy from Trekker, remember that book? He's on Kickstarter. He's killing it. Mm-hmm. That guy. That book is like 30 years old.
Really?
Yeah, he's killing. He's like on the third or fourth like graphic novel, whatever. He's raising, I don't know, what I think $30,000-$40,000 and up.
Trekker, was that from the Leonard Nimoy?
No,
it's an old Dark Horse comic.
No, it's Randy.
Yeah.
The fuck is his name? Can't think of his name. But it's a girl. It's a chick. She's in a spacesuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened, but that's why we got to not just promote our stuff, but we got to share our brothers and sisters' works as well.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Ron Randall.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that's been around. He did a lot of DC stuff and things all over the place too. But this was his creator-owned thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to create our own thing from one of the guys right here tonight. Yeah. Calderon, you want me to play the video?
All of our audience just went away.
There we go. They just went away. That's it.
I hope not, because I still haven't talked about my thing yet. I really fucking hope not.
Well, you can see the numbers. So this is Dreamweaver.
I'm looking at your Kickstarter right now. I'm scared to look.
There you go. Why are you scared to look? There's a beautiful woman on it.
No, I'm scared to look at my numbers.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. So this is Dreamweavers, a story about 4 kids who go to sleep at night. When they wake up in the bodies of their role-playing game characters, and their world is being possessed by demons. And these kids are going out. All they want to do is have a good time, have fun. They want to watch wrestling matches on the top of Madison Square Garden. Nice. And of course, what happens? They run across these demons, and hilarity ensues.
Sounds like they're a bunch of punks.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at those faces.
Yeah.
So they go out there and they're having a good time, but they're also trying to save the world at the same time because they know they have certain responsibilities. The back end of this story is that they're not just creating these characters from their minds; they're actually pulling them from other dimensions. And these characters are actually other beings from other dimensions, and they have their own personalities. They have their own responsibilities in their own worlds. And it's like, so you have the kid in the foreground, these other characters who are adults in the background, and sometimes you see them switch places, and you can see the changes in the characters and all this stuff, and it makes for an interesting dynamic in the story. This was a book that I actually created. I don't know, I was 18, 19 years old when I did it. First, we fully reformatted it. It was originally black and white. Now it's in full color. It's 48 pages from cover to cover. It's pretty much a one-shot. There is an overarching story, but if you just bought this one book, you got one complete story. So,
nice.
There you go. We have a lot of fantastic covers, Lena Dye and a whole bunch of other artists. So go check it out.
Look at that.
while it's still around. And the prices in there, if you're in the US, the prices include shipping in the US.
What? Finally! Look
Yeah,
at that.
boy.
There you go.
Look at that. Oh, man.
There you go.
Oh, man. All right. So we did lose a few people. But, you know,
It always happens through the crawls. So
it is what it is. You know, stuff like that happens. It's bound to happen. But, you know, we got to. I'm not going to be a bleeding heart here.
why
I
not?
can't say, well, I always am, and I can't say we're going to take care of everybody, but we could talk about people's product. We could keep their names running out there, you know, and I think we have to. We have to. We don't want to see anybody take their own lives anymore, man.
No.
That's too much, man. That's how dark were your days, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing. Is just like, I don't know. It's one of those crazy things.
Damn, man. So I don't want to. I'm gonna have to. But I'm launching something on September 21st, and finally we're bringing out the action figure from our flagship title, Shield of the Interceptor. This is going to be 1/18 scale action figure, so that's approximately 4 inches. And if you remember the G.I. Joe stuff that came out in the 80s, we're looking around that size. So you can pick up the figure, you can pick up the comic book series if you've had neither, or you can pick up one or the other. All those options are available to you. September 21st, we will be going live.
September 41st.
41st. The 4th of the 1st, we'll be going live. We'll have a live stream. We'll go back to doing that, having fun, just talking about the stuff, having a good time, having some laughs. Here's some actual
The
pictures.
Stuff was a good movie.
The Stuff was about the marshmallow, right? But this guy's not a marshmallow. This is a 3D print of the actual file that's going to be sold or sent to the printer. So that's what we're going to have. And there will be 2 versions of it, the official version and our variant. Looking forward to
Official version and the bootleg.
You got to have a bootleg. You know what I mean? If you don't,
That's what you should do. You should make like a yellow version, like as a bootleg. Be like, get the bootleg edition.
That's a great fucking idea, actually.
Just change the color on the
what I
mat.
do, Jay.
That's a great idea. You know what I mean? Bootleg variant. Just have like funky colors. I don't know if you guys are into toys the way I am, but a few years back when Toy Biz was doing the Marvel stuff, they had a Sentinel Build-A-Figure.
Yeah.
Pretty pricey. It's about $200 in the aftermarket. There's a bootleg version right now on eBay being printed up regularly. The colors are wonked out, but it's going for $40, and it's filling a lot of people's collections because anything else is just way too much money. So the bootleg idea is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. We could go for it. Either that, or I'm going to be selling, the dime bags out of the Mr. Softy truck, like my neighbor's doing right now. I don't know if you guys.
So Jay is also going to be starting OnlyFans in January. That was his way of announcing that.
Yes. And we're going to be kicking off the OnlyFans at New York Comic Con, folks. Booth 1948. Come by. We're going to be there, myself, as well as Andres Barrero, the artist on Shield of the Interceptor. So come with your books, get them signed, or pick up new books to get signed. But you can also see the Interceptor action figure on display at the booth.
Yeah, but you're going to have that at Baltimore too, right?
No, I'm not going to Baltimore, brother.
What?
Yeah.
You people were all like, hey, go to Baltimore. I'm like, yeah, I'll go to Baltimore. And you're like, no, we're not going to go to Baltimore.
Yeah, especially since the night before we're launching the figure. You should have been
at Baltimore to launch the campaign.
I know.
Like, oh, look, we have a toy.
I know. I'm sorry. I can't get the days. I got too many days off for New York Comic Con. That starts for me on Tuesday, dude. So I gotta get this
Weird.
ready.
I have that week
Are
off.
you,
It's
are
strange.
you taking a vacation later on in the year?
No, this is it for me.
Oh, gotcha.
This is it for
Right.
me. See, that's the hang up of the day job, Tom, right? I do not get to get all of the days off to do all of the conventions that I want to do.
I just got an
Right?
offer on my eBay store.
Very nice. See,
Doing
that's a sales
business right now.
came through me. See, I'm generating sales for everybody else but myself, right? I, I was on the show with Sam Vera and George Medina earlier in the week. Man, I was bringing people to their website. What was I bringing to me? Nada. Oh, gosh. But we finally got the website fixed.
Yeah.
That took me almost 3 weeks to get it back up and running. And I had to update it from all the way back in March of the previous year. I also have to go through all of my sales to make sure that I sent out all of the stuff, because I've got sales there, and who knows when they went down. I got to verify them or cross check them off of my stamps account to make sure that I sent those out. That's fun too, you know. The price of being a small business owner is having to do everything on your own, and it's a fucking headache, guys.
No, really. Tell us about it, Jay.
It's a fucking headache.
Yeah,
Holy
seriously.
shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, man. There's just not enough time in the day, fellas. I walk around with my laptop now just so I could do scripting in whatever moment that I can sneak out.
Stop sleeping so much and gain some work hours.
No, man. Well, I
Put some
Calderon
work ethic. Jesus.
saw firsthand what happens when I'm not getting enough sleep today. We were talking about some weird, wonky stuff. But it's something I'm never going to give up,
Sleep?
right?
Mm.
Oh, comic books.
Oh,
Comic books. It's in the blood, guys. Right? I'm addicted. I'm hooked. I am. You guys seem like you could drop it, in a moment's notice. No, nothing.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, then, on that note,
No.
my record speaks for itself.
good. I'm
And I'm
glad.
sure Tom's does as well.
Look, I call myself Unstoppable Comics not because I'm this great big engine of destruction, but because we go through saloon outs and we don't give up. We don't give up. We're the little engine that could. I love comics. Love making them. I
What
can't
a
help.
nerd.
Fucking geek.
Nerd. I know. But I'm not the only nerd here. So one of the other two nerds who've been joining me, let everybody know where they can find them before we get out of here for tonight. Starting with Calderon.
I thought we were going to go for another 3 hours.
Not gonna happen, Doctor. Not gonna happen at all.
Tomorrow's Saturday. You got nothing to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is the worst day of the job for me. Where can I find you, Calderon?
Facebook, Instagram, all those different places, and the JD Calderon, the OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, DreamWeaverPress.com, and most importantly, currently on Kickstarter with Dreamweavers #1. So go check it out. And this Sunday with Marvin Wynn talking to a retailer. So we will be discussing indie comics and retailing with an actual retailer.
Nice.
We just got 2 comments, so you can't stop the show now. You have to go another 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
We got the comments. We got the
Yeah,
comments.
you got new comments. That means you got watchers. You don't turn off the show when you have watchers.
Mm-hmm.
We got. Listen, I see where the watches are. We're going to be turning it off. And Bootleg Sentinel is pretty good for bootleg, and I have the OG version.
Somebody
William.
asked us a question before we turn the thing off, so we have to keep going.
I hope you come through New York Comic Con. We're in the same spot as last year. But before I tell you guys who are watching where we're going to be at, Tom, Let them know where they can find you, brother.
Tom,
next-
very, very slowly.
Next weekend,
Uh-huh.
I'll be at a con.
Where?
It's
What?
sort of near Detroit, but it's
Right.
not in Detroit. It's
No.
below Detroit.
Yes. And to the left.
And it's called Monroe Comic Con.
Oh, that's a different one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about Baltimore.
No, that's not next week.
No.
It's like
No,
the following.
next weekend. The following weekend. Okay.
The week after Monroe Comic Con.
Uh-huh.
Then I go in my car and I drive across the country through a couple of states,
Yeah.
and I arrive in Maryland.
Yes.
And in Maryland, there's a city down by the harbor.
So, but, Tom, I think what's really important though is that you should probably give us an itemized list of everything you can be selling at the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have a slip of paper right here. It has the list. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm glad
So,
you got the slip of paper.
On the left side of the table, we'll have the first box. So Monroe Comic Con next week, I will be there with CB Zane, and then Bill McKay is actually going to be there too. He'll be sitting at the CBCS booth, so you get some
Very cool.
BDI signatures and grading. If you want grading, you can do all that at Monroe. And then the following week is Baltimore. My return to Baltimore, first time in like 8 years, I think I've been to
Nice.
Baltimore. Well, here, the first time since the creation of Princesses versus Zombies, it happened at Baltimore Comic Con.
Very cool.
And so I will be there with Nia Ruffino, but then in Artist Alley, Bill McKay will be there again. Jesse Witchman, Chris Enott, Jason Metcalf, Bun Leung. I know Rob Multari is going to be there as well. It's going to be a big, fun Artist Alley with tons of BDI people among other people as well. So if you haven't seen us in a while, I know I got a pretty good reaction when I announced that we were going to go. People were like, "Oh shit, I got a reason to go now." I'm like, "Well, yeah, of course.
Oh, wow. Look at
Let's
that.
do this." So, and then the Inner Harbor is where Princesses versus Zombies was born, at Hooters. At Hooters, of course, at Hooters. Where else would it have happened? So we'll venture back for an anniversary with Jesse Witchman at Hooters for the show, and then 2 weeks after that I'm in St. Louis, and then the week after that I'm in San Antonio for Big Texas Comic Con, and then 2 weeks after that, the last con of the year, I'll be with CB Zane in Akron.
Very cool.
For Texas, are you flying in or are you driving?
No, I'm driving. Yeah, I'm going to drive down to St. Louis, and I'm just going to keep going. When the con's done, I'm just going to be like,
damn,
let's
how
go.
long is it drive? How long is that drive?
It's it would be, well, it's about 10 hours to St. Louis ish. And then it's another like 12 or 13 to get to San Antonio. But I'm just, instead of just going home and blowing that 10 hours and having to do it again, I'm just going to cruise down and take my time and take a couple of days of chill out. I'm going to run into a couple of people that I know that live in Texas and just,
Very cool.
do a little fun time before we actually hit the show. And then Nia will be down in Texas as well. They invited both of us down there. So
Cool.
If you get the chance to stay in Dallas, check out the Dallas area. Check out Hard 8. They got 3 locations. Best barbecue, in my opinion, in Dallas. We hit a few places, and Hard 8 was the spot. It wasn't just the food. You got the presentation, the show, the environment, the ambiance. It hit. So I hope you have a good time at your conventions. William, Calderon has no convention scheduled for the year, so don't worry about that.
Can I answer my own question, bro? Like I was asking.
No,
Can I answer the question? Tom, are you going to see Ben? Are you going to see Ben while you're in Texas?
Listen, Daddy got to
Ben,
go take.
oh yeah. I'm going to see if I can for sure, because he's going to be right down there. So I'm gonna see Ben. I'm gonna see Terry Parr, who's one of our artists. He lives up. I think he's Dallas-ish up there,
somewhere in the area.
So yeah, and then just some other folks that I know that live in Texas. I haven't been to Texas in a long time.
Me neither. But I will be at the New York Comic Con on October 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. Booth 1948 with Andres Barrero, artist on Shield of the Interceptor, along with me. And September 21st, while Tom is at Baltimore Comic Con. Medina is going to be at Baltimore also. While they're out there, I will be launching Shield of the Interceptor, the action figure and a comic book campaign on Kickstarter. So I hope you join me. I hope we get this bad boy funded. We got a lot to raise before we hit that goal. So I hope you are all there for me. It's all hands on deck.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
You know.
I'm sweating, shitting in my pants, and all that other good stuff, you know.
Gotcha.
But thank you, everyone who has joined us.
You can put up that Galactus, I think.
Ain't gonna happen. Negative Doctor. Galactus is staying here with me, and I make sure that he's
man,
gonna be here for a long time. All right.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Son of a gun. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, folks.
Have a good night, everybody.